And this is Sheer Mag with Playing Favourites, which was Kylie's pick. So over to you.
Yeah, I mean, as I was just mentioning, Philly, here's just in my book for the last 7, 8 years now, why that town is just punching above their weight with bands because Sheer Mag, um, does it get any better than straight up rock and roll garage power pop from the beginning? These guys came out of the gate with three fantastic EPs that put onto the compilation of those EPs. I think it would be one of the best albums of the last decade in my book, and everything that's followed since. Need to Feel Your Love and A Distant Call, just like when those records come out, I have them on constant repeat. And so Sheer Mag, at the same time, has kind of always felt underrated in my book, obviously with that kind of praise. Smaller labels and working their way through the industry. But this one here, Playing Favorites, when they announced that this album was coming out and put the first single all lined up out, they also announced that they were on Jack White's Third Man Records now. And it's nice to get this record that has the budget to it while still staying true and raw to their sound. um I mean, this is, when they say they don't make them like they used to, this is one of those albums for you. uh I know people love to hate on them, and I don't love them as people, but this reminds me a lot of Kiss and just some great 70s throwback rock and roll. um for me personally, the entire thing, uh title track, Eat It and Beat It, has constantly been stuck in my head. All lined up, I gotta go, just over and over. Tina Halliday is a phenomenal front woman, and she crushes it again on this record. But for me, it was I think it has been released as a single, but Moonstruck to me is a little bit of growth and maturation on their part, starting out with the kind of lo-fi pedal steel country thing and just moving into a straight 80s bop is awesome. And that and Mechanical Garden gets a little more experimental. So kudos to them on that one. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a bad note on this record. It's another one that is quick as hell, and you've got, let's be realistic. Mechanical Garden probably isn't a single, but most of these songs are single worthy, and they should be getting much more attention than they are still. Just fantastic band, and long live that Philly rock scene. It's great.
Carl, what did you make of Playing Favourites?
Yeah, I mean, as you say, second dose of Philly Philly rock this month, and yeah, another new discovery for me. I think it was Eat It and Beat It was the one that you shared prior to the album dropping, Kylie, and immediately listening to it, it definitely had all those hallmarks of like one of your recommendations. Those classic guitar sounds at the forefront. An instant like timelessness about it, and where it just sounds like a track that you know you've known you've known about it your whole life. Basically, it's a track from like years gone by, and I think that's a great characteristic for a song to have. Just that warm familiarity to it, even though it's something brand new. um yeah, few artists can do it, but definitely got it with that track. And I'm pleased to say, yeah, pretty much carries on like that for the rest of the record. Some outstanding riffing throughout. You obviously mentioned there that this is their first on Jack White's label, and you can definitely hear, some of those guitar aesthetics, kind of synonymous with him coming through at certain points as well. But yeah, just really fantastic collection of songs, I'd say. My one criticism, I'd say, was particularly in that first half. I would say that some of the song structures can feel at times a bit by the numbers. Just because I think it's because they're like chugging along at one pace for a lot of it. But I think when those guitars eventually do kind of shift into second gear, you have those solos that come in and kind of take flight, usually towards the back end of the track. That's where, for me, it becomes really quite dazzling. But yeah, the three best moments are the same as kind of you just mentioned there. Moonstruck, just so damn catchy, very different to anything else that's on the record. Fantastic groove to it. Mechanical Garden, as you say, really psychedelic, a bit experimental. And then the other one I really liked was Golden Hour, which just has got those amazing like bluesy riffs that run all the way through. Just a really fun track. And I think after that is probably where it slightly drops off for me. I think those last three, by that point, I was kind of like, okay, it's just giving me more of what I've already heard up until that point. I think that's more maybe because of the other albums that we've had this month, where it was like a bit more diversity. But yeah, I think that's the only downside that I've got on this one, is that it can be just that one pace at times, but overall, I think what it lacks in diversity, it makes up for, as I say, with some truly mind-melting guitar work. Yeah, that's the draw to this album for me. The front woman that you mentioned as well, great vocals all the way through. And yeah, I think while there's not, compared to some of the other records, there's maybe not too much lyrical or conceptual content to sink your teeth into, the sonic pleasures, I think, that you get with this record, more than enough to make it worth your time. So yeah, another great recommendation, this one.
Yeah, and I think really the way you summed it up, Carl, is probably how I feel about it as well. Yeah, it is that classic rock sound. I've got listed here AC/DC, Thin Lizzy. Also, when it comes to Christina Halliday's vocals, Jackson 5 on a few of them.
Yeah,
I really
true.
do get that. On Don't Come Looking and Moonstruck, they were the two which I thought were very Jackson 5-esque. So you got that real kind of retro feel, which is, the whole album has got that. And I'm sure, I haven't dived back into the discography, but I'm sure, Kylie can perhaps confirm, that's probably their modus operandi. And there's nodding of your head. So yeah, I'll take that as read. And yeah, I think, you can't argue when it really lands. Eat It and Beat It. That is just a hell of a song. So I say AC/DC vibes. The guitar is like something like Beastie Boys' Fight for Your Right, or even Black and White by Michael Jackson. A lot of Jackson, yeah. But only the good side of that on the music, musicality. But I think that's where it comes together the best for me. I think the opening three tracks really, get you really into the groove, playing favorites. Kind of a touring song, I can't sit around at home where I don't belong is quite sad actually. That they don't, it's like touring perhaps has become so embedded that they don't feel settled when they're off touring. And so we've got that one, Eat It and Beat, as we've discussed, and all lined up again. Kylie, you mentioned that one, and that was what I referred to in our introduction about finding solace playing pool in a bar. I mean, that is the kind of what's being discussed, and sometimes that's all you need. Those three are great. I think the middle, they're not as kind of strong, the songs, although I do really love what they did with Mechanical Garden, and that one, it really does just turn your head a little bit, and you're like, okay, there isn't something wrong with the album. This is where they've gone with it, and I think that was a really nice kind of palate cleanser at that stage, just to take your mind elsewhere from think Kyle mentioned sometimes it can be, in its lane, very stuck to that, which is all good. Nothing's bad on this record at all. But yeah, after a while, I think you probably crave a bit of a change up, and Mechanical Garden kind of delivers that. And then my other highlight was Tea on the Kettle, which it's just a lovely, sweet song. Sharing love with an empathetic lover here, feeling that peace within their company, and just a sweet chorus. And again, I think that's only like 2.5 minutes or something, but it just ticks all of the boxes in terms of what you want from a great pop song. The standout for me with this band and on this record is really the guitar playing. So you've got Kyle Seeley on lead guitar and Matt Palmer joining on rhythm, and they absolutely knock it out of the park on this album. With the vocals, I was, sometimes loving it, other times it just wasn't for me at times, and that can happen as we had with the everything. Jonathan Higgs is someone like that, but I wouldn't say to the point that it puts me off the band at all, because like I say, on some songs I thought Christina Halliday's vocals were excellent. I think it was only maybe some of the more Jackson 5 like ones which I didn't like as much, but overall, yeah, enjoyable, and yeah, some absolute bangers on here which have gone straight into my best of 2024 playlist. So yeah, and what I'd like to see on their next one is that like each of the songs sort of reach that same level, and then you'd have a really quite amazing proposition. So yeah, like I say, similar to Carl. So broadly, no bad words to say, I think, between us, really. And yeah, another strong record for March.